Have you ever looked back on your life and realized that some memories were meant to stay yours? Not because they're embarrassing or shameful, but because they carry a weight that doesn't belong to anyone else. After 80, that truth becomes clearer. You've seen decades rise and fade, watched the world change in ways younger generations could never imagine, and learned that peace often comes from knowing what to say and what to keep gently tucked away. Families today are closer than ever, yet oddly fragile. One unexpected confession can shift how someone sees you or change how they remember the past. If you're watching this, you probably already sense that some truths aren't meant to be spoken aloud. They don't help. They don't teach. They simply stir emotions that don't need stirring. And when harmony becomes one of your most treasured comforts, you begin to understand that silence can sometimes be an act of love. In this video, we'll explore 4 types of personal matters many seniors choose to keep private, out of wisdom, not secrecy. These experiences shaped you, but sharing them now may offer no real benefit to the people you care about. Along the way, you'll hear real stories, thoughtful insight, and gentle reminders of why selective sharing can bring more peace into your life and your family's life. Let's start with something nearly everyone carries, even if they never say it. Old regrets that don't heal by being revealed. Living into your 80s brings long-forgotten memories back into focus. Moments where you made a choice that sent your life one direction instead of another. These memories often return during quiet afternoons, not to torment you, but to remind you of how far you've come. Naturally, the question arises, should I tell my family about this? Should they know the things I still think about? But sharing old regrets rarely brings comfort. In fact, it often shifts the emotional burden from you to someone who wasn't even alive when the regret happened. Your family sees you as someone steady and wise. When you suddenly reveal something heavy from decades ago, it can make them question whether the story they believed about your life was ever complete. Once that thought appears, it's hard for them to push away. Take Leonard, for example. In his late 80s, he told his daughter about a job he turned down in his youth, an opportunity he sometimes wished he'd taken. He expected a warm conversation. Instead, his daughter wondered whether her father had lived with dissatisfaction all those years. A regret he had accepted long ago suddenly became something she carried in her own heart. That's the deeper truth. Regrets are part of your personal evolution. They shaped you, but they don't belong to the next generation. Your children can't change the past, and knowing certain things may only complicate their memories of you. Sharing the lessons behind your regrets, that builds wisdom. Sharing the regret itself, that only adds weight. Some pages of your life story are meant to stay closed, not because you're hiding something, but because you're protecting the peace you've built. The financial struggles you survived alone. Money leaves deep marks on a person's life. You can go from secure to uncertain in a moment, and sometimes you face those storms privately so others don't worry. Many seniors survived financial challenges in their middle years, failed investments, debts, unexpected bills, or years of stretching every dollar. And decades later, they feel a sudden urge to finally tell the whole story. But past financial stress rarely helps your family today. Instead, they begin to worry about things long resolved. Evelyn, an 86-year-old grandmother, once invested in what she thought was a guaranteed business opportunity. She lost nearly everything. Quietly, she rebuilt her stability over several years. Only later in life did she feel tempted to confess the entire ordeal. When she told a trusted friend, he gently reminded her, "Your children don't need to carry a burden you already survived." He was right. Her family admired her strength, but didn't need the details of the storm she once weathered. Knowing the full story wouldn't reassure them. It would only introduce anxiety. Young people already face financial uncertainty. Hearing about past disasters can make them fearful or overly cautious, even though the crisis ended years before they were born. Be open about your current financial situation. That matters. But the old battles you fought and won belong to you. They don't define your family's future, and they don't need to become part of their emotional load. Your resilience already speaks louder than any story. Old family grievances that no longer matter. Time has a way of revealing the full shape of family relationships, the joys, the hurts, and everything in between. Old grievances, even small ones, can linger for decades. And as you reach your later years, the temptation grows. Maybe I should finally explain. Maybe they deserve to know what really happened. But revealing old wounds often creates new ones. Harold, an 84-year-old man, carried tension with his brother stemming from a misunderstanding over their father's estate. It caused distance for years, yet the two remained civil. Harold's children never suspected anything. After his brother passed, Harold considered telling them the story so they'd understand the rift. Before doing so, a friend asked, "What will your children gain from knowing this now?" Harold realized the truth. Sharing the story wouldn't resolve anything. It would only change the way his children remembered their uncle and burden them with a conflict that belonged to another time. Family stories hit differently when heard through fresh ears. Something that felt enormous to you decades ago might feel painful and confusing to someone else now. Passing down old grievances can unintentionally plant new resentment or reshape memories that were once filled with warmth. Choosing silence isn't being dismissive. Sometimes it's choosing peace over reopening a chapter that no longer needs a reader. You've lived long enough to know that forgiveness doesn't always happen through conversation. Sometimes it happens quietly, within you. And letting old conflicts rest can be one of the greatest gifts you give your family. Old health fears you faced on your own. As you age, your relationship with your health becomes more reflective. You remember scares you kept private, tests you didn't talk about, symptoms you brushed aside, moments you pushed through alone because you didn't want to alarm anyone. These memories sometimes feel unfinished, and you may wonder whether you should finally share them. But old health fears almost always create unnecessary worry. When Carol found a lump in her 60s, she kept it to herself until she saw a doctor. It turned out to be harmless. She moved on quietly, but decades later, the memory resurfaced. She considered telling her children, thinking it might help them understand her better. A friend told her something that stayed with her. If telling them won't help them now, maybe the story already served its purpose. And she realized it was true. Her children would gain nothing from hearing about a fear she faced and resolved alone. Instead, they would feel guilt for not knowing. Guilt they didn't deserve to bear. When younger people hear about past medical scares, they often imagine risks in the present. It's natural, but unnecessary. Your family needs your steadiness now, not the echo of fears from decades ago. If something affects your health today, you should absolutely share it openly. But past battles you already won don't need to become new sources of anxiety for the people you love. Sometimes the kindest silence comes from knowing the difference. Why the urge to tell everything grows with age. With age comes reflection. People don't just remember events, they interpret them. You begin to weave your life into a full story. And in that process, you feel the pull to share details, to be understood, to leave nothing unsaid. This desire is natural. It comes from wanting meaning, not from wanting attention. But your family doesn't have the context you have. A memory you've processed for decades hits them all at once. And what feels like closure to you might feel like emotional weight to them. You're not withholding truth when you keep certain memories private. You're protecting your family from pain they never caused and couldn't prevent. You're choosing connection over explanation, peace over confession. What you should share. Not all silence is necessary. Some things are absolutely worth sharing. Your lessons. These guide younger generations in ways they'll remember forever. Your triumphs. Even the quiet ones show what resilience looks like. Your values. These become part of your family's identity. Your joyful memories. These stories strengthen bonds more than anything else. Your legacy isn't the struggles you kept to yourself. It's the wisdom, steadiness, and love you've given through every season of life. As you move forward, hold your memories with intention. Share the ones that bring light, not confusion. Guard the ones that served their purpose long ago. And trust that your family already sees the best of you, the strength, the resilience, the compassion you built over a lifetime. Your life is meaningful not because of the burdens you carried, but because of the love you gave every day. That love is your true legacy. Thank you for being here. If this message brought you clarity or peace, share your thoughts below. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating thoughtful, uplifting content for people just like you.